Hello, my name is Eduardo Sánchez García and I am going to proceed to the presentation of the following work entitled Geographical Distribution of the Energy Sector in Spain. I have developed this work together with my colleagues from the Department of Business Organization of the University of Alicante, Francisco García Lillo, Lorena Ruiz Fernández and Esther Poveda Pareja. This paper is structured as follows. Firstly, a brief introduction is made where the importance of the subject and the sector under study is highlighted, and the main objective of the work is exposed. Next, the methodology used is explained and the results obtained are presented. Finally, are detailed the conclusions and some possible future lines of research. In recent decades, we have observed an accelerated process of economic globalization, favored by the development of new technologies, advances in international logistics, and the reduction of governmental barriers to global trade, among many other factors. In this dynamic context, companies must make efforts to continually renew their knowledge base, through which to develop innovations of various kinds that allow them to meet the requirements of the market and the demands of their stakeholders at all times. Progressively, the importance of innovation in the business environment has increased, positioning itself today as a fundamental factor for the survival and competitiveness of firms. In parallel, the innovation process has evolved from a closed perspective limited to the scope of each company to an open and cooperative conception. Due to its relevance, there has been a significant increase in academic efforts and resources aimed at determining the main sources of innovation for organizations. In relation to the external factors, it is worth highlighting the study of the localization economies derived from belonging to some specialized environment with a high degree of industrial agglomeration. The agglomeration of specialized agents in a main industry derives in the creation of characteristic cooperative competitive contexts, in which a series of positive externalities are generated as a result of the geographical and cognitive proximity of companies that present common interests in very diverse fields. Among other factors, the fact of sharing certain social, cultural, and cognitive aspects and possessing a series of common interests can favor the pooling of resources by different entities, with the aim of generating synergies that allow the performance of each of the participating entities in different areas of their activity to be increased. Generally, companies, especially those with fewer resources, are not able to generate internally all the knowledge they require. Because of this, it is necessary for organizations to interact with specialized entities in their environment and to cooperate in different areas, pooling resources to achieve shared objectives, especially new knowledge. In this respect, business location in certain regions specialized in the main industry to which the organization belongs has been shown to be an external factor that facilitates the exercise of the activity and boosts the competitiveness of companies. This work focuses its analysis on the energy sector in Spain, specifically on those companies engaged in activities that are included in Section D, Division 35 of the List of National Classification of Economic Activities, CNAE 2009. This refers to the supply of electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning activities. It has been found that this sector, in addition to being of great importance for the country in strategic terms, is positioned as one of the main sectors of activity in economic terms. This sector directly and indirectly influences the level of wealth and welfare of the population. It is essential for the proper functioning of today's society and conditions the growth possibilities of the industry. In addition, it is positioned as the second and third most important sector in Spain in terms of gross value added and production, respectively, as well as having the highest average productivity per employee compared to the main industries and sectors of activity in Spain. The main objective of the present work is to determine the degree of territorial agglomeration of the electricity, gas, steam and air conditioning supply sector in the different regions of Spain in relation to the national average at both autonomous, community and provincial level. To achieve the objective set out in this paper, an analysis has been carried out of the number of companies and employees in the sector under study existing in each of the autonomous communities and provinces of the Spanish territory in the year 2019. The population is made up of the companies and employees belonging to the sector under study. Due to the peculiarities of the territorial organization of the country, it has been decided to carry out two analyses, taking as territorial delimitations the autonomous community and the province in each case. The data used in this phase are secondary, and the SABI database has been used to obtain them. According to this database, the number of active companies in Spain for the year 2019, whose main activities falls under the CNAE 35 code, is 13,339 companies, with the number of employees amounting to 73,821 employees. For the calculation of the agglomeration coefficient, the aforementioned formula has been used, by means of which the degree of agglomeration of the sector in each region is established in relation to the data on a national level. Two coefficients are calculated for each region, based on the number of companies and the volume of employment in the sector. The calculation of these coefficients makes it possible to determine in a clear and comprehensible way the regional distribution of companies and employees belonging to a certain sector or industry. The calculated coefficients are interpreted as follows. A value greater than 1 indicates that the degree of agglomeration is greater than the national average, and the higher the value, the greater the degree of agglomeration of the sector or industry in the geographical area in question. In relation to the results, in the first place, the degree of agglomeration at autonomous community level is shown. Regarding to the agglomeration coefficient of employment in the sector, the data indicate that only 4 autonomous communities present a level of agglomeration higher than the national average. On the other hand, with regard to the agglomeration coefficient of companies in the sector, it is observed that 9 autonomous communities are above the national average. At provincial level, as in the previous case, employment in the sector presents agglomeration coefficients higher than the national average in only 9 provinces, while companies present a degree of agglomeration higher than the national average in 27 of them. Once the results have been analyzed, and with the aim of concluding which regions have a higher and lower degree of agglomeration of the sector, the product of both coefficients have been used as a means of unifying the agglomeration coefficient of the sector in each region. Thus, at the regional level, the 7 regions marked in green show a higher degree of agglomeration than the national average. At provincial level, there are 20 territories in which this situation occurs. Finally, after analyzing the average size of the companies in the sector in each region, it has been observed, as would be expected, that in those regions in which the agglomeration coefficient of employment in the sector is significantly higher than the number of companies, the average number of employees per company is higher than in the regions in which these dissimilarities doesn't exist or they occur inversely. According to the limitations, the 2 main limitations are the following. The institutional framework in the regions is not analyzed. Likewise, the action of regional government agencies aimed at promoting the development of the sector are not studied. In relation to possible future lines of research, in addition to extending the work by analyzing the elements set out in the limitation section, this work establishes a basis on which to analyze the effect of industrial agglomeration in territorial clusters on a wide range of interesting variables directly or indirectly related to business performance. This slide shows the references used to make this presentation. And that concludes it. Thank you so much for your attention.